we're talking about social media and launching a business, particularly a startup, the social media element can take up quite a bit of time. And quite often, it's way down your list of priorities when you're trying to get all of the basics in place, launching a new business in particular. And that's where our next guest comes in. Husband and wife team, Jane Kavanagh and Gary Evans, found that finding time for social media was a huge issue, not only for them, but for so many other people. So they came up with the perfect solution, Feedalpha. So please welcome our next speaker, Jane Kavanagh.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you all so much for having me here today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the story of Feedalpha and how we got here in the first place. I work with my husband, Gary Evans, which some of you know, and we have 2 children. And in the beginning, Gary came home one day, about 4 years ago now, and announced that he wanted to quit his job. Now, that was a big deal for us at the time. I was full-time at home with 2 small children, and he was CTO of a large organisation, and he was away a lot. But it was his dream to start his own business, and I guess he had supported my dream to be full-time at home with the children, so I said, okay, let's do this. So how are we going to do it? So if anyone had told me then the journey we were about to go on, I would not have gone, and I would not be here today. As all of you in the room here today know, starting your own business and being an entrepreneur is probably the worst roller coaster in the world that you could possibly be on. And we definitely, in that first year, found it extremely difficult. I went from never seeing Gary to having him full-time at home, 24/7. Yes. And we had to work together, and we had to basically try and survive with no money and no income whatsoever. So that first Christmas was extremely tough, but life has to go on as normal for the sake of our 2 small children. So that year, Gary actually blew the budget on the Christmas present for me and bought me my very first Ed Sheeran CD. And my love affair with Ed began and continues to today, and I'm absolutely Ed obsessed. So we were, I suppose over the course of the next year, we were working long hours, and we had great support from our family and friends, and we were very fortunate with that. But as anyone knows, starting a small business, cash flow is a huge problem. And basically it wasn't flowing. There was no cash. So we were really struggling from that point of view. And on a regular basis, people kept saying, well, do not just go get a proper job. And to be fair, there was times when we thought about it. But fortunately, Gary and I never wanted to quit. Well, not on the same day anyway. There was days when he wanted to quit and I managed to stay positive, and vice versa. And luckily at home, we never wanted a divorce on the same day either, so it was a bit like that. But it had now become a shared dream. It wasn't just his, it was mine. So we were 18 months into the business. We were doing web design and SEO and social media management for organisations, and we were really struggling. We were struggling to find relevant content that we could share. We were struggling to... Sorry. We were struggling to manage the whole process and get in and out of different platforms, to, you know, have Facebook, Twitter, try and manage everything, what goes on what platform, how do we do it? So we were jumping in and out of different platforms, and we had a lot of information overload. And a lot of you will know, when you share on social media, you need to share stuff that's going to add value to your customers. And that's the biggest problem, is finding stuff that's relevant and that will add value to your customers. And I think information overload is a big thing.
There's so much kind of information about the world nowadays, and it's hard to know what you need and what you don't need. 24 hours of the day, 7 days a week, this relentless stream of shit is headed for your fucking head, right? And every time a piece of useless information goes in, it pushes older, wiser information further down into the muck, makes it harder to understand in dreams. Now, there's no escaping this fucking, it's relentless. Sandra Bullock's husband is thinking of moving to Texas in order to be closer to their children. How the fuck do I know that? hasn't even decided yet. He's only thinking about it. I didn't go looking for that information, but it went into my head. Spent the whole day relaxing between my two ears. I meet somebody for a drink later on that night. The only fucking thing I can think of saying to him. I see Sandra Bullock's husband is thinking of moving to Texas.
So you see, information overload, information that's not relevant, that we don't need. So to prevent ourselves from sharing about Sandra Bullock's husband on Twitter, I decided there must be an easier way. An easier way to add value to our customers and not tell them about Sandra's husband. An easier way to build brand awareness. There had to be an easier way to engage with customers in different time zones. We had customers in America, New Zealand and Australia, and we were just not managing it. In and out of different platforms, one schedules, one finds content, one does different things. So in order to save time, the more we talked about it, the more we realised there must be a way of doing this, and if not, we need to build it ourselves. So the whole concept of Feedalpha was born. And basically, out of deciding to do this, we then faced into the most challenging few years of our lives. Instead of starting to repay everybody that we probably should have been starting to repay and pay our debts, we took a risk and we hired a development team. Now, we couldn't afford a development team here in Ireland, so we managed to get someone abroad, and we self-funded over the next 20 months this new project called Feedalpha. And to say it has been a challenging time is putting it mildly. We were about a year into it. What we do is we get a bit of money, we pay the developers, get a bit of money, build another bit. And we were about a year in, and we had invested quite a bit of not just our own money and our own time, but our energy to do this. And we had a major setback, and the whole dream came crashing down on top of us. And the whole thing was pulled. And we had to go back to square one. And to say it was heartbreaking, it really was. I just wanted us to give up. I wanted us to just say, look, we tried, it didn't work, let's come up with something else. But we didn't. Gary locked himself in a room for a few days and said he'd have a think about it, and I went away and disconnected from it all, and we decided we'd start over. We had made progress already. We had a basic Feedalpha, we had a basic platform, and it looked something like this back in the day. But you know what? We were determined to make this work. And I know for a lot of you, you might be aware that there's always people that are going to tell you can't do it. And there's lots of those, and I think we all know some of those. But we just decided to surround ourselves with people who believed in us. And we didn't know of Win at the time, but I think it's like the room here today. It's full of women and men and other people in business who've been there, who've struggled, who've found it really hard, but just kept going. And we surrounded ourselves with those people. So we decided we're going to do it and we're going to keep going. So basically what happened next was Gary said, will you do me a favour and go get money to fund this? So I said, right, it's time to stop knocking on doors and start knocking them down. I went back to Carlo Leo and I said, you have to be able to give me something. There has to be some fund that I am entitled to somewhere along the line. And to be fair to them, they did come up with something. And they told us about Enterprise Ireland. And I don't know if any of you have used the innovation vouchers. They're absolutely brilliant. They give you a €5,000 voucher towards an institution in Ireland that maybe you can use a service of, like we used Carlo IT. And Carlo IT pulled us into a room and said, okay, this is what you get for your voucher. We're going to sit you down and pull the whole project apart and start from scratch and see where you went wrong. And I said, no, you're not. I've invested way too much time in this to start all over again. But you know what? They convinced me to do it, and it was the best thing we ever did. We went back to the basics. Why did we build it? Who did we build it for? Who's going to pay for it? How much would they pay? How much value would they get out of it? And we broke the whole thing down. And you know what? We got to see inside Gary's brain. We got to see what it was all about. But it was a massive turning point for us. And we finally I suppose we got outside eyes on the whole project, and we got to see what other people thought. We got to see why they'd use it. They'd say to us little things like, you know, you should try this, or you should try that, or what if it did this? And we go, yeah, what if it did that? And I was talking to Emer outside earlier, I don't know where you are, Emer, and she was saying, what if it could do this? And I was like, yeah, send me an email, that'd be great. We'd love if it could do that. And it turned the whole project around. And we're very excited with how it's ended up and how it looks today. So Feedalpha is a platform that allows you, it provides you with content that's relevant to your industry. So you type in business, marketing, social media, design, whatever it is, and it brings up all the latest relevant, trending content in that area that you can share out to your customers. And we all know it's about adding value. So it's really about getting something that you can share with your customers that you feel that, because it's already popular and trending, we know it already works in the market. You can schedule your posts, or you can share them there and then. You can share one or multiple accounts at the same time. So some people like to share to Facebook and maybe Instagram, but they will put something different on maybe Twitter or LinkedIn. So you can choose which ones you want to put it on, but it's all in one platform. You can have up to 9 accounts at any one time, and we have Instagram coming soon. So we've currently Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, with Instagram coming. The other big advantage is that you can engage with your customers while you're offline. So schedule up to a month's worth of posts to go out. The posts can be your own as well, from your own blogs, and it'll allow you to do that as well. So to find out more, come and say hi. I have a table upstairs, but we have a 14-day free trial. And if anyone signs up for today, till midnight tonight, close of business, if they use the Win 18, it's a £10 a month instead of $20 a month. So it's a good value for you to sign up, but you still get a 14-day free trial anyway, so it gives you an opportunity. We also have on our Facebook page a Feedalpha community, and I know most of you here today know Jacinta. Jacinta runs that for us, and she does an amazing job and adds a lot of value back to our customers. And we love the way she interacts with them. She's had a few of you on already, which has been fantastic. But if you even want to just sign up to the Feedalpha community on the Facebook page, that gives you lots of extra information and tips and tricks along the way. So thank you so much for having me today, and I'm delighted to see you all. Thank you very much.